Good morning, Pomfret. Your first chapel speak of the day is named after an island. Your second speaker of the day scored his first ever hockey goal on his own net. Your third chapel speaker of the day's pancreas does not work. And your fourth chapel speaker of the day only spoke Russian until she was 4 years old. Your chapel speakers of the day are Bailey Sheehan, Stephen Armstrong, Cole Brennan, and Olivia Raykhman. Enjoy.
Dear Pomfret, this is my letter to you. A letter filled with gratitude, memories, people, and lessons that have impacted me the most these past 17 years. I have realized that the lessons you learn in life make you who you are, and thanks to you, Pomfret, I have learned to value every memory and relationship. You have taught me countless lessons, but there are 3 I plan to take with me wherever I may go. Lesson number 1. Everything will always get better, even if it doesn't seem like it. A lot of things in life change, and when given time, you learn to accept the changes, appreciate the changes, or just let them go. COVID-19 granted us the gift of time. Not sure I completely appreciate that gift yet, but it truly has made me realize many things in my life. Things have felt so wrong, but now I'm learning to acknowledge things when they are right. Being sent home last March, I was overwhelmed with mixed feelings about the situation and wasn't sure what good was going to come out of something like this. I found myself unmotivated, hating my situation, missing my friends, and unhappy, much like what the rest of the world was going through. On warm Saturday nights, I would remind my family that I should have been hanging out with my friends on the quad, and to say the least, I had this image stuck in my head of what spring was supposed to be like. All my negativity created distance between my friends and family, and I always cleaned and organized my room at least twice a day because it was truly the only thing that was in my control. But to be completely honest with all of you, if someone asked me today if you could take back those 6 months, would you? I would easily say no. Those couple of months were really hard, but I started to learn a lot about myself. As I had always been so dependent on others, I started to learn how to be dependent on myself. I picked myself up and stopped feeling bad for myself. I started to do things that made me and others happy. I started mentoring a girl from Harlem lacrosse, and sometimes we'd gossip much more than we'd even do schoolwork. Sometimes when things aren't great, you need to find ways to make them better. Everything does truly get better, and it all happens for a reason. Every bad day, every good day, and every friendship all has a lesson that goes along with it. I've learned that sometimes everything can seem so perfect, and then other times it will and can fall apart. But this is just so that better things can fall together, and I can definitely say that they did. This leads me to lesson number 2. Live for the small things. We all heard Phoebe Hager talk about this in her chapel speech back in the beginning of the year. She is the person who taught me to appreciate these small things the most. I remember there was a day last June I texted Phoebe and told her I just wasn't sure what to do anymore because I truly wasn't happy and had nothing to look forward to. Phoebe told me that in times like quarantine that I had to live for the small things and appreciate them. I had to live for the pretty sunrises or walks with my family. To be completely honest, I thought she sounded ridiculous, but if you know Phoebe, you know she was always right. So from then on, I gave it a try. I made goals for myself. Every night, I looked forward to the sunset drives I went on, blasting music in the car. I looked forward to the little things like family and friend Zooms, or late night talks on the porch with my dad. I noticed myself not only living for the small things, but looking forward to them as well. At these moments, I realized I had already been doing this for much of my life. I always look forward to all the Saturday nights in the tuck. I lived for the times with all my friends when we would sit outside in a circle and talk about the most random things. I love advisee dinners at the Kremers. I love the nights where we bring out a speaker onto the quad and dance to it until sunset. And I love pre-game warm-ups in the locker room before field hockey, squash, or lacrosse games. No matter how small these moments may be, I've learned to appreciate them more because I am truly my happiest and best self when I'm doing them. I've also realized that the people in these moments play a huge role in making them so important. This leads me to my third and last lesson. Lesson number 3, appreciate the people you have. I am so beyond grateful for the people in my life who make life so worth living. In this last year, I have definitely learned the hard way that I needed to be more grateful for the people that I have around me, because I don't always know when the last goodbye would be. I encourage you all to text someone that you love them and hug all the people you love tight. I want to use this time to say thank you to my parents. As it gets closer and closer to graduation, I have started to appreciate having both my mom and dad here. They are the constants in my life. After long days at school, just knowing they are here makes any bad thing better. I will miss seeing my mom sticking her head out of the window or standing on the admissions porch waving, saying, "Hi B, I love you. Good luck at your game," or "Have fun at practice." I swear she always had the perfect timing. After walking by admissions, I would always stop and see my dad before every game and almost every practice. Ever since I was little, before every game, my dad would give me a high five and would say, "So what are you going to do today?" And I responded back with work hard, have fun, and kick butt every single time. As I got into high school, this tradition didn't stop. Before I'd walk to the locker room or get on the bus to leave for a game, I'd make sure to stop by his office so I could say that one sentence. I know that next year I won't be able to walk by Nikon's admissions office to see my mom waving on the front porch, or walk to the athletic director's office before every lacrosse game just so I can hear my dad ask me that one thing. I want to thank you two for everything you have done for me. I was going to use this part of my speech to say how grateful I was for everybody at Pomfret, and I will make sure that all of you know that. But for now, I want to use this time for Zach. Zach came into my life 13 years ago, and as we grew up, he remained one of my best friends. After I left PCS in 5th grade to head directory, I really only stayed in touch with a couple of people. Obviously, I had my ride or dies, Bridget, Tatum, and Kellen, and then I had Zach. He never gave up on our friendship, and he never gave up on me. I've always had a hard time trying to make this town feel like my home, and obviously Pomfret School had always fulfilled that feeling. But Zach was the one person to make Pomfret, Connecticut actually feel like my home. Thank you, Zach, for leaving a huge impact on so many people. I definitely speak for a lot of us when I say having you by my side all of these years truly made me a better person. Zach's joy, kindness, and dimples were so contagious, and even if you didn't know him, I'm sure you all feel a connection because of the influence he left on this place and the people here. Thank you for being a constant source of happiness in my life these past 13 years. My life will not be the same without you, but I know I will meet you again through the smile and kindness of a stranger. Zach Stolaric, you changed me and my life for the better, and I am forever grateful to have called you my friend. So finally, if you've ever seen the movie The Blind Side, you'll know Leanne Tui's line, "You can thank me later." Well, Pomfret, it's later, and I can't begin to thank you enough for watching me grow up and for helping guide me along the way so that I could become the person I am meant to be. Although leaving this place I call home is beyond scary for me, I know I will be ready. I will be sure to continue to teach the people around me the lessons you have taught me. This way I can leave a little bit of Pomfret no matter where I go. Sincerely, Bailey Sheehan, a 17-year senior here on the Hilltop.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Steven Armstrong. I'm a first-year senior here at the Hilltop. I first learned of Pomfret through great friends who said I had a homey feeling and a great campus. When I did my own research, the campus really struck me as the best part of Pomfret. I knew I had to get a visit, and I did. On my tour guides were Matt Ream and Ben Kelsey. During my tour, I began to notice that people had been coming up to Ben Kelsey and saying, "Congrats on the baby and happy birthday." It was very strange at the time to be hearing this. I then asked Ben if he was having a kid. He said no and told me and my dad it was simply a joke all the kids pulled on the tour guides. When it was my first time to come to Pomfret, I met all the hockey guys and all the dorm guys. I met some very interesting people. My first day in the dorm, I happened to walk in when all the guys were playing the Soviet national anthem and running into Matvi's room. I knew this was the right spot. Through the first month, I enjoyed every second of it and had a blast as I met everyone. My favorite memories in just 2 months were made when me and Kaur decided to have a dorm war. Although some things may have crossed the line, we still had an absolute blast ruining each other's room. I knew Pomfret was a perfect spot as everyone is so nice and caring. I had to go back to the Hilltop as it was a special place, and I will remember the times I had in those 2 months. Hopefully we can go back this summer, this spring, and have a great time. Thank you.
Good morning, Pomfret. For my entire life, being sick, whether it be from the seasonal flu, allergies, or even a simple cold, was something that was practically non-existent. I can vaguely remember a handful of times where I would come across a little cold, but all it would ever turn into were a couple of days with a runny nose. So going from rarely encountering illness to spending 3 days in the hospital with all types of monitors and wires attached to me was quite the dramatic shift. Within those several days, I would be stuck in my hospital bed learning all there was to know about type 1 diabetes and how I'd be managing it every day for the rest of my life. Throughout the beginning stages, the physical challenges of monitoring my condition were of the utmost concern, and really was the only challenge that I expected to confront. This would change drastically as I quickly realized the massive mental toll that monitoring my condition day in and day out would bring. I would often have several days where the thought of not having the ability to deal with my condition would constantly run through my head. It felt as if every task within each of my days was amplified by the concern of making sure I was prepared with anything I needed to keep my health in check. Constantly being met with concern and worry as to whether or not I had the necessary supplies to last, whether it be in class, in the dorms, or traveling down to the hockey rink, was something that consistently ran across my mind. Setbacks were yet another normal occurrence, as I would have some that would run smooth, while others provided a nuance of obstacles that left me drained by the time the day came to an end. Though the most essential aspect pertaining to all the experiences I had gone through in coping with my condition were the mental strengths that I gained through perseverance and the ability to pursue. I believe that it is crucial to understand that the most predictable and unpredictable facet of life is change. It is predictable in the sense that we know change will occur. Whether it be now or later, change will eventually happen. It is rather unpredictable in the sense that we will never know what form it may come in. Whether this sudden change be good or bad in respect to your life, it is important to also accept reality rather than dwelling on what could be. Though, of course, being able to do this is much easier said than done, as before any acceptance comes along, we first struggle through several other emotions of denial, anger, bargaining, and sadness, all of which play a role in reaching acceptance. The statement from Winston Churchill, "If you're going through hell, keep going," is exceptionally appropriate when swamped with misfortunes and disappointments. This is because, as burdens continue to pile on, it is tempting to just flounder in wretchedness and surrender. Being able to keep yourself moving by arranging your next task and following through with certainty and persistence is key. When you hear stories about individuals overcoming adversity, no matter what the situation, we tend to sit back in astonishment of those people. It is surmised by many, when they see such examples, that those individuals were born with gifts that we don't have, or that they have assets we couldn't possibly get to. Though this is certainly not the case, as those assets or perceivable gifts that these individuals possess can be found within any given person who is willing to persevere. It is heart-wrenching to discover that you may have quit when you were far closer to your end achievement than you may have thought, and is why it's so critical to persevere regardless. Each and every one of these learning experiences has allowed myself to grow through managing my condition, as it has allowed me to turn it from a daily burden on my life to rather just another part of my routine. I learned to transition from a fixed mindset of dwelling on the negative to being eager to grasp onto the positive and make the most of it. Through all the turmoil, I was able to realize that you must bear the tempest and remain focused on your vision, just in the off chance that you will be able to make all that you have experienced advantageous to the experiences you come across in the future. Thank you, Pomfret.
Good morning, Pomfret. I remember my first time being at the top of a mountain, getting ready to ski down a double black slope. Scared and exhilarated, the mountain before me seemed to be never ending. A few minutes earlier, from my vantage point on the ski lift, it seemed like there was a straight path down. However, looking closer over the edge, I realized there was no direct path for me to take. Gazing at the glistening snow, I collected myself. All I have to do is survive the sharp turns, avoid icy patches, and keep my balance. Freshman year, a double black diamond in and of itself, seemed straightforward to me. Get good grades, make new friends. It's not rocket science. However, walking into school that year, I quickly realized my analysis was wrong. Back on the slope, I said a silent prayer, embarking on my journey down the mountain. As I was skiing, to the left and to the right of me was a thick, dense forest. The massive trees, all blurring into one, both provided comfort and stability, and presented a sea of endless secrets and mystery. They were so close, yet totally out of my reach. Walking down the hallway, my sophomore year, seniors seemed like mythical creatures to me. As they towered over me, I could not imagine being in their shoes just a few years down the line. The gatekeepers of the school, the senior class, always seemed to hold deep, dark secrets. While I have not yet become a mythical creature, I am now a senior, privy to the secrets of going through high school. I've made sharp turns to avoid the debris. The icy patches came and went. At certain points, it just seemed like I was barreling down the mountain. I finally get why so many books and movies are written about high school. All of them try to capture what goes on in these 4 years. But I haven't seen one that even comes close to matching the absurdity and unpredictability of reality. Now I can look back on a freshman year of turmoil, a sophomore year of drama, a junior year of academic chaos, and the second semester of the senior year, the calm after the storm. I'm temporarily at the base of the mountain, but in line to get on the next lift to the top. It never really looks quite the same from the outside as it does when you have boots on the ground, but in the words of Robert Frost, the best way out is always through. Thank you to my incredible teachers, my classmates, my fantastic advisor JP and his whole family. Thank you to my best friend and roommate Kayla, and my parents for guiding me and supporting me. Thank you, Pomfret.